We are live.
Hi everybody, good evening. Well, we've already had a few technical difficulties on here. I'm on a old laptop rather than my new Mac, the new Mac. So if you could just let me know that you can hear me, see me, please, and hope you've all had a good week. Been a strange week, been a busy week, but hope you're all okay. It's telling me I'm live on the YouTube channel. I can't see any comments yet. Anybody out there? Let me know. Can you hear me? Telling me I'm live there. Good. Yeah. Hi, Maz, you all right? Thank you. I'm still trying to get on this one, but I don't know what's going on. But as long as you can all still hear and see me, that's good. Good. Hope you've had a good week. Evening, Christian. Morning. So I don't know where you're from, but obviously, if it's morning where you are,
Hello. Right. Morning.
yeah, that's just what I said.
I hope not. That means I've
It
got to go
might be
through
now.
Friday again. Right, let's go live, guys. Here we go. Are you ready? Are you
Hi, Carla.
steady?
Hi, Melissa.
Let's go.
As a duly designated representative of the city, I order you to cease any and all supernatural activity and return forthwith to your place of origin or to the nearest convenient parallel dimension.
Whoa. Just hold up 1 minute there. It's not who you're gonna call, but it's who you're gonna listen to. And if you ain't afraid of no ghost, stay tuned for the EGH Paranormal Talk Show.
Hello, guys, and welcome to the EGH Paranormal Talk Show, live and exclusive on Post Talk Radio. Welcome. It's Friday. It's the weekend, and what best to sit back and have your paranormal fix is me and Simon. Welcome. How is everybody today?
Good, mate. Good. So
All
I tried
good?
to get on here.
Well, at least you're on. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that is true.
I do think we are out of Mercury retrograde somehow, but
No. We've got a few more days.
well,
Ends in October.
that says it all then, doesn't it? That says it all. Welcome, everybody. For anybody who is listening on Pulse Talk Radio, we are live over on Facebook and we are live on YouTube as well. So we'll just say hello to, we've got the lovely Marianne Dixon and Jay. This is the one that watching, but this is the one that has confused us just a tiny bit. Morning. So we're obviously listening from some part of around the world, but where are you from? Because this has confused me just a tiny bit. We've got the lovely Carla Sutherland Twister sister, Julie Ray, the lovely Sarah is listening, Lisa is listening, Julie is listening, everybody is listening. Hold on.
You ain't gonna let that go, are you?
The lovely Steph is watching as well. Louisa, am I saying that right? Louisa Jane is watching. So welcome to the show. Well, last week we did an events reveal on here, didn't we, Simon?
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
Last week.
Yeah. Week's gone quick, isn't it?
It has gone very quick. So if you want to sort of book onto an event with us, please head over to www.essexghosthunters.co.uk. All the events for 2023 are on there as we speak. I'm hoping we're live on all platforms. I'm hoping. I really am hoping. But who knows? Who's to know?
Ends on the second. It ends on Sunday. Right, you.
Oh, Mercury retrograde ends
2nd of October.
We better bloody hurry up. It must be coming to the end. It must be coming to the end. But I don't know if anyone else is having trouble with this new Facebook layout. They seriously need to revert back to the Facebook page, the old way of working, because this is just not working. Facebook, we're live on your platform. Sort it out. It's terrible. It's absolutely atrocious. It has no sense and sensibility like it used to have. But we are live. But we've got some fantastic events coming up for you next year. But please go over to the Essex Ghost Hunters website, www.essexghosthunters.co.uk, and you can book all your tickets from there. So many people
And keep watching. Yeah, keep watching though, because there's going to be some more added. I mean, Kim and Sandra are really still going after venues for next year, so there will be more added. But we just keep dripping them through as we can, shall we?
Yeah, I think so. So let's just click on. We've got the lovely David James is watching. We've got Barry and Maureen that is watching. We've got
Barry, you're right.
We've got Christina watching and Ollie watching. Evening, Ollie. How are we?
Evening, Ollie.
I always want to say the song when it comes to that, but I mustn't because it's rude, isn't it? So I've got to be careful, haven't I?
Yeah. It's before the watershed as well.
It is before the watershed. I've got to be careful. I've only got an hour before the watershed and I can swear. But I mustn't. He's now famous. Yes, he is now famous. Yeah. Of course he's famous. Little Ollie is famous because his name's been read out on YouTube.
Good.
And on Facebook. Good. Everybody else's name's gone. So welcome everybody. Well, we've sort of, what do you call this show? This is like after the the Lord Mayor's Parade sort of thing, because last week we had a big build up of all our events. Now we've got to get back to sort of a little bit of a topic. Now,
I've got a few. Oh,
have you?
Yeah.
Come on then. Let's crack straight on with the show.
The number one question I get, in the shop,
go for it,
is around spirit boards, Ouija boards, whatever you like to call them. So I think it might just be good to spend 10-15 minutes to disperse all the Hollywood style things. I don't say that they're not dangerous, because that's not what I'm saying. I think they can be dangerous if you mess about with them, because I think you open that portal. I don't think you should do it if you're drunk, but then you shouldn't do any job if you're drunk or whatever, should you? But there's a lot of people come in, and you must have noticed it as well, Russ. Oh, I'm never going to do one of them. But some of our best communication has been through a spirit board.
I couldn't agree more. We go along this line of the Hollywood effect with spirit boards.
Yeah.
We've used them for a hell of a long time. Would I ever worry about using one? No. I think I would. I think my intentions.
We wouldn't.
No.
No. As a novice, go back to your very first day, your very first time of ever using that spirit board, or whatever you used to do, because you know my first experience with such as a spirit board as it was.
But mine was controlled. My first.
Yes.
And I was never nervous at that point. I was never frightened, because I never I didn't have the persona of obviously back in the day. I think we talk about when Nan uses the spirit. She used the spirit board and scared herself, in
Yeah,
when
she
she
did.
used to work. And sort of that frightened her because a lot of things would you blame everybody else.
Yeah,
You're moving the
she was
glass.
telling me. She was telling me in the week when she used that spirit ball. Now the glass flew off the ball, but it's because they were laughing at it, and that's exactly the same as what happened to me. In effect, that my friend Tony was laughing at the spirit, and I suppose at that point it thought, right, have some of that.
Yeah, yes, I do. But then for me, laughing at it has got a reaction from it. So
Yeah,
my head goes, I'm now in the game. It may have knocked it off the board and things like that. But I'd actually say now that the spirit is now in a mood to talk. It has the hump potentially,
yeah,
but you're on a term. You are all in the motion. What is how I would say it's a bit different if I'm on that spirit board and saying, right, you little boob, move the boob, move, and but you're laughing at it. It's not an insult as what I would call, and I think it gets your
no,
attention. I think that's
yeah,
that motion of attention to move the glass. Well, hang on a minute. You've asked me to come forward. Now you're laughing, sort of thing.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe not as in a bad way.
yeah. I think mine's slightly different.
Yeah, because obviously us doing it now. So let's talk through
Us doing it now, yeah.
the protocols of a spirit board now is obviously we set the board up, we give it a from whatever you call it, a prayer, intention, an opening,
Blessing.
a blessing, however you want to see it, however you call it. That's how we would open the board up. Our intention is one of the main things that we call forward. We are planning to talk to spirits of the location. We are to
Yeah,
open it up to spirits of loved ones around the board. And that is pretty much it. That
yeah,
is pretty much as far as we would go. Yes, I have, witnessed and heard the glass move on its own. I've seen the glass come off the table at the top of Harwich Fort.
I've seen the ball going mad in Kelvedon.
Yeah.
But me and Mrs. already stood there and watched it, and our mouths dropped open. What?
So for me, the worst thing that's happened with the spirit board or Ouija board, whatever you choose to call it, is Hollywood.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Yes, if you want to go and call Satan or whatever you choose you want to go and call, of course you're going to do it. Of course that's going to happen. Absolutely. Why wouldn't it? But if your intention is to talk to your loved ones, then it's going to happen. And that's how I see it. I
Yeah.
don't see it as a bad bit of kit. Is there a part of me? We've had not the luxury. I shouldn't say the luxury, but we've sort of tested the waters through running events for the last sort of 15 odd years. So we've been on to different teams and different practices of spirit board and a Ouija board. I won't mention the team's name, but there was always something that stood out with how they sort of said it, and it sat right. And they said along the lines of, what are you there to be frightened of? Why don't you use it? Do you think that spirit that has been there for probably hundreds of years potentially just going to attach to you and leave with you when it could have done it 1,000 times to 1,000 different people? I get that. I massively get
I
that.
agree with
And
that.
that always sat in my head and thought, well, actually, if I look at it of the spirit that is communicating with me and doing it at the time, it's Everything is going a bit Pete Tongy. Hold on a minute. Now my screen's flashing. Get that off, because that'll give me an epileptic fit.
So right. So really, what we're saying then, if it's controlled, it's safe. But now I put another scenario to you then. I'm 14, 15 years old. I'm out with a few mates. We come back, bit pissed up, bit worse for wear. Let's have a laugh. Let's do a spirit board. Is it dangerous?
Well,
See, I think it is. I think you're opening something up.
now we're going back to that show that we had on. In my opinion, we're going back to that little bit of that show that we spoke about when we talk about the hallucinogenics and things like that. What's the difference then? We go back to sort of the shamans. We go back to the ancient Red Indians and that culture. They would communicate with their dead high as a kite.
Yeah.
And I don't see the
to
difference.
them, it's controlled, isn't it? That's probably still controlled because they were used to being as high as a kite.
But they
Get
can't
what I mean?
control. Yeah, but it's still not controlled in the fact of. I get it. The only way that I would. So the practicality side of it, I'm not going to do it. But if I did, I would put my intentions before I popped any sort of drug, to keep me safe. But I don't know if that would actually work, because I think under medication you don't know what you're going to say. You can't control your mouth at any point. If we look at it as some drugs cause, don't they? They give you the ability to make you'll do anything. It's killed a lot of people.
God, yeah.
So if you're in that controlled experiment and you do feel almighty, what's there to say? For certain, come on, Satan, I'm ready for you. Let's have a punch up. Just because you've taken this drug, what's stopping that from happening? Because you've said them words.
I'm not saying, but yeah, I don't mean it like that. But we've seen it firsthand, and I'm not saying, because to be quite honest, I think Satan would have better things to do. So you're going to call a negative.
Yeah, I'm
energy.
just using it
to
as
be quite honest. But we've seen that happen. We have seen that happen.
I've seen it. I have seen it happen. But
So
his intentions was clear of what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if he was drunk. It didn't matter if he was high as a kite. It could have been plain sober. You knew what his intentions were going to happen. Yeah. I think there is, within the world of the demonic, if we're talking quite a heavy line here. There's a difference. I think there's a difference between sort of an attachment and the demonic. I think we've all had attachments that have caused us to go a little bit which,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
But then that attachment could have tried to get out of that location for all intents and purposes for good reasons.
Yes.
Potentially. Yes. Not all of them. Yeah. That's not what I'm saying. But is how I feel. I'm very much drawn on the line of it that yes, don't get me wrong. When we do a board at any event, it is down to the person if they want to do it. I would never force anybody to do it, and we always will open up with a blessing and a non-blessing. Yes. Now, would I do a board drunk? Probably not, because my mind is programmed not to do it, and I don't know if I could fry my mind to do it. It's just. But if someone asked me as in an experiment, I probably could. I probably could do it. Because I don't quite know what the difference is me drunk and me sober would actually cause.
Because your protection. Because, it takes away your. Yeah, it's exactly that. When you get drunk, you can,
But that's what I'm saying. That would change, surely, when we was, if the old you know, the old ancients, you know, was to take some form of drug. You can't control that mind. If it starts to wander, how do you control that?
I don't know. But did they not call evil spirits through as well, though?
You, probably. I'm not too, but I know sort of like the ancient Red Indians, and they would meet their sort of totem animals, and they would meet their power animals, and 9 times out of 10 they was high as a kite.
Yeah.
They would. I don't know what sort of drug it would be, but they would. I know the shamanic side of things still use this practice. It's all controlled, but probably a lesser state than what it normally would be. But I don't know. I do generally think it is a clear intention. To call for all intents and purposes of the to call a demon through, you're not just going to sit there and say, I call so and so through. It's not going to be that. There's incantations, there's invocations.
But then we know how sneaky they can be. Also, so they can get on a board and pretend to be something they're not. We know that.
Yes, but I think that is a lot harder to do than a lot harder to do than actually just showing themselves. In my opinion, I think
they probably are, but they do still come through a board, don't they?
Well, we had it a couple of years ago that when we had an energy at Coalhouse Fault come through, and all it kept saying was Zozo, Zozo, Zozo. Now, to me, when we look at the history of the word Zozo, it comes very much within the modern day thinking. Very much the modern day thinking. Zozo only really become what I would call a thing when the films started to come out of The Conjuring and things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that people was on purposely using that you know, faking the ball. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that wouldn't, if that now had happened on a board and Zozo come through, my first port of call wouldn't be to panic.
No.
Because in my head, there is more in the hierarchy that would be the ones that I would be frightened of. You know, we know Zozo is a so-called, what do you call it? Another name for the devil, Satan, you know, Lucifer, whatever you choose.
Yeah. But in theory, they're not going to come out on your board.
No, I am.
They're not. But
I'm pretty much certain that. Not to say they can't. That's not what I'm sitting here and saying, Simon.
no, no. Agree. I do agree. But the same thing is, what I would say is when we do a lot of house clearance and things like that, you do usually find that a board's been used years ago. So are we just saying that that's opening the portal for any spirit to come through? Do you think it's that? Because 9 times out of 10, where we do the board, let's just take it for example. We do the board in Kelvedon. It's always in that comms room. Yeah? And that little room off the comms room. And where's the most active place in Kelvedon at the moment? Comms room.
For board?
No, for other things. You know, with the Bakelite phone was ringing, where your phone, that is the most active sort of place there, I would say now. One of the most active places there. And that's where we always do the board. So do you think by doing that, we open a portal for spirit to come through? I'm not saying bad spirit. That's not what I'm saying.
So is okay. I sort of get potentially where this might be coming from.
I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying that's right, but it always seems to be when we do that a ball session, it's there. The first ball session I ever did there is when that ball was moving up and down on its own, like me and Sandra have never seen. And now it seems to be very, very active. So I wonder if we should try a board next time we go to Kelvedon in the sleeping beds, in the sleeping bays, sick bay.
Yeah, but we did, didn't we?
I don't know. I don't know.
To be fair, the most compelling bit of evidence of the young boy that we had to escort out the building.
Yes.
That was in there, and that started with the spirit board in the bunk beds at the bottom.
I did it. I didn't know where that started from.
Yeah.
I didn't know where it started from. But
yeah. The only I can't.
Okay. But so do you think then?
For me personally,
you actually open a portal to spirit if you do a spirit board wherever you did it.
That's a tough one. Yes and no. I think we open up a line of communication.
Yeah.
But I don't think we open up a portal.
Okay.
Because when shutting down portals, you reverse the polarity. I can't say the word. The polarity of the. Yeah. With a portal, it is a free running motion. Yeah. So it will have some. So if you was to put your pendulum within a portal area, it would give you a motion of an angle if it was watching, yeah? So for all intents and purposes of the conversation, we've opened up a portal. If you put your pendulum over it and it's going a clockwise direction, now you've opened up that form of portal, so to call. Now to shut that down, you'd have to reverse the polarity of that. So you'd go counterclockwise to bring that back into its motion. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So and that's why my brain goes to we open up something, but I would be more along the lines of is what we do is a safe bubble around the group for the energies to walk into to manipulate the glass.
Yes.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, okay.
Like if I was to,
I think
very rarely, and I do say it, as I'm confident in saying it. Very rarely do we have any spirit that is evil. We have ones that are negative and arsehole-ish.
Yeah. No, I do agree.
But I think I could probably count on one hand how many times I've probably gone, you know what? I'm a little bit uncertain of that energy. I'm cutting the ball down.
Yeah.
And I put that along the lines of I don't know what the energy is. But then I would say that we get quite a lot of negative energy through because of the locations that we are in. They've got a sad story. They've either been murdered, killed, and things like that. And they've probably got a bit of a brashness. So I can see where you're coming from with the portal, and yes, I do see a something opening. I think you have to open, but what that is, I don't quite know.
Let's decide. Perhaps I'm using the wrong word. Perhaps I should be using a doorway that we can open and close. That's probably what I should be using. Which might be. And perhaps we leave that door open rather than a portal. Perhaps we just leave the door open.
But
who knows?
I see it as we put a bubble around. See, when we open the board up, I think our intentions we are normally pretty. Within my head, when I open a board up, I make it pretty clear in my head that I'm going to allow people's loved ones around the board or location energy. Okay, and I feel that I probably would go 10 foot from around the board, 10 foot one way, 10 foot, 10 foot, 10 foot, and just put a balloon around it. And I think whatever's in that balloon is then controlled. and that's what talks to us.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it. And I remove the balloon once we're finished. Once I close down the balloon.
But if you didn't remove that balloon,
I don't know. I've never.
yeah, but that's what that. That's,
But I've never
that's
not
the
locked
sort of-
down a board. I've never not shut down a board, if you know what I mean.
No, but what I'm saying is, you may have never done, but perhaps people
But it all depends.
who
Once
don't
again,
know what they're doing, don't know what they're doing, may leave it open. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there.
I do. I do get that. I do get that. Very much so. Yeah.
What
no,
do our
I do-
listeners think? What do our listeners think?
Well, they're listening,
Put
so
it out.
let's hope they. So, do I think that they would? Once again, it goes along the lines of that, doesn't it? It goes along the lines of the intention. What was the intention in the first place? I would do a board. I would do a board anywhere that people ask me to do it. There is no location that's if someone told me to do
totally
a board,
agree.
I wouldn't. Nothing scares me along them lines.
I totally agree, and I go so much to say is, if you're doing pendulum work or rod work, you're doing the same thing, but you're just doing it sort of individually. So you're opening up your intentions. I protect, and then if I finish the pendulum session or a board session, sorry, not a board session, or a rod session, then I'll close down and say thank you, spirit. That's it. But so I'm closing that down. But not everybody would do that.
No, but that goes for anything paranormal.
I know. Yeah.
That goes from me reading my cards,
Yeah.
me using a K2 meter, a spirit box.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Anything.
I totally agree.
It's no, and this is what Hollywood has done. This is what Hollywood has done. Stripping it back, Hollywood has put this persona onto it that makes it sound like it's hell on earth. If you touch the spirit board, it's going to, you're going to have a hellish. It's not.
It's not. No.
It's not.
No,
and
it's not.
I do feel.
I do actually think spirit boards get bad press.
Oh, massively.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it's a great way of communicating, and that's what I try to tell people. If it's used if it's controlled, used in the right environment, you're going to get some wonderful results out of it. Because we've had wonderful results through our 15 years. I think we've had some lovely results. We've had people in tears and things that we couldn't have possibly known. Mrs. A, our ball queen, couldn't have possibly known around that board, and even messages for people that are not even on the board. How does that work? But
And that's it goes back a long way. I know that there's the Ouija board when it was named doesn't go back that long because it was invented by two brothers, but the actual process of the board and how that works goes back a hell of a long time.
yeah.
Really does. Goes back a hell of a long time. Victorian, seances. Do you know?
Yeah.
Now, the seance, I think you do go down portal route.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you are sitting in in a circle of transferring of energy from person to person, and no matter
So what
how
about table tipping?
No, because you're not for me, you're not joined. With a seance, we touch fingers, yeah?
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yeah.
So scientifically speaking, there is an energy transfer, and it's only going to go one way, counter or anti. It will never not start a motion of sending energy to energy to energy. It will never stop. It will always go. Now you are then potentially opening portal stuff because you are causing a polarity of motion. And I think, but it's contained within and that's why we say, do not break the circle. And if you do, you put your hands on it because you are then containing something. And that's where I think you could potentially, not to say it is a portal, because I'm not necessarily sold on that causing a portal motion unless you actually doing certain things to open it. But you are causing a transfer of energy. You are causing that motion. In my eyes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do agree.
To be fair, I think a seance is potentially more not dangerous, because that's not the word that I'm potentially getting at, but there's more. It's more physical. It's more energy zapping.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, it is.
You get a lot more stuff happening. You know what is happening because you've got potentially 10 people rather than 5 people. You've got the voices that are being heard. You've got the encouragement being heard. You know, you've got the continuous motion. You take it at the last event that we went to, you know, how it started off very slowly, but as soon as people started to see the table moving, that interacted, the more you spoke, the more you got louder, the more the energy got into the middle of the board. You know, from past seances that we've done, the quiet you are, the less you're going to get. You have to be vocal. You have to be, and that's what I'm saying about the laughter of the board.
Yeah,
it's something. It's a you know, it's a higher vibration than saying, "Come on, spirit, move the glass, move it. Come on, spirit, move the glass." And you know, when you talk to the board, say it in a positive. "Come on, spirit, move the glass, please. Come on, you've got it. Use our energy. Lift it," because they're going to feed on your energy. It's no different to like telling a child off. If your child's just smashed your window, you don't just go, "Oh, well done for smashing the window, brilliant," do you? You go, "What the bloody hell have you just done? You've smashed my window," because the child understands the different of tone, and I believe that's, you know, it sounds so derogative how I say it, but treat spirit a little bit like children. It sounds a bad terminology, but encourage where you can. You know, once they've done something good, say "well done, thank you, spirit." It's a bit patronising, but if you've got a spirit that is good to you and nice to you, you go, "Cheers, mate, thank you." But if you've got something that's nasty and you can't get rid of it, you go, "Sod off, go away."
To be quite honest, I treat spirit as I would human. I would talk to spirit the same way as I do a human on the earth plane. But disrespect.
No, I'm not saying about disrespect, but I'm talking about the encouragement side of things.
Yeah, but then you have to encourage people on the earth plane sometimes, do you?
Yeah, but if it was on the earth plane, you'd probably get a smack because it's a patronising thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
More than anything. That's what I would see.
Yeah.
I just want to check, guys. Is the chat working? Can someone just let me know if the chat's working? Because I'm getting a lot of things. I'm getting a lot of things flash up on my phone, but seems to be linking to the ghost hunting.
It doesn't look like we've had anything for 10 minutes, actually, does it?
But I'm getting a hell of a lot of comments coming up on my phone. So unless it's watching something else, just put "hi" or something like that so we know. Perhaps that might be an old one. I don't know why, but it might be working. It might not be. Hopefully it is. But then we have had technical issues from out the thing. And what are your thoughts? Have you used a spirit board?
Do you want to use a spirit board? Yeah, it's working.
You know.
Do you want to use a spirit board?
Let's have a look. Have you guys been to Shoreham Church and 7 Mile Church? Never heard of it.
But Barry, I promise you, I've written it down. So. We probably
what's
will
I
be.
say? But they definitely should. Sure, after yesterday, me picking up the activity and getting a name.
Yeah,
Good. Like it. Like
keep
it.
going.
I like it. Keep it going. Um, but yeah, I do. There's something about, for me. I think it's overkill when someone says it could be really dangerous. I think it could be. Yes, it could be really dangerous if you wanted to. It's no different to driving a car. If I
Yeah,
want
but
to
then
get to
you,
A to B and drive within the safety limit, I'm going to be all right.
but you're of sound mind. You're of sound mind.
I don't think. Course says course. Let me. I use the terminology of driving a car. Okay, of sound mind, we get drink drivers. Yeah, they do get to A to B without any damage.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, no different to the spirit board.
Right.
Sometimes. You know, there's probably many people out there who have drunk drive, not me, but they've got to A to B without causing no crash, no nothing, not killed anybody. But then there's other people that have,
Yeah.
that have had accidents. And I think the spirit board is like that. I think if you're crystal clear, if you want to call something and you want to
See,
call
I
the
still
devil,
think. Yeah, but I still see it as that we know, because we've been in this business a long time, we know what we're doing. Yeah. If you're a novice and come into our shop, for example, buy a spirit board and take it home, it's not the same as me and you and a group of people doing it, is it?
yeah, but if you, how would I put it? Would it, would it frighten me to use a board without it being blessed? No.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying
That's
is,
what it. But that's what is what I am. Is what. If we was to sell a board in the shop, I would always say, make sure it's blessed, make sure it's this, that, and the other, because I do think
well, all
that is the
all
right.
imports go through my hands, so they're blessed before they go out of that shop.
Yeah, but even when they go, when it's try and follow a protocol
Yes.
using a board, get into a routine, opening it up. And I say Mrs. A's working, but if Mrs. A was in the chat, she would say, we go over the board, around the board, and bless it, and things like that. And then we work. We try and keep the glass off the board at all times, unless we've got our fingers on it. You don't just leave the glass with the board on it. I get all that.
Why though? Why?
Because
Why?
that's how my mind is programmed.
Right. Okay.
My mind has been programmed. But if you told me,
so that's what I'm saying. So it's how our minds are programmed to a board. It's going to be different. We wouldn't leave a glass on the board.
But if you told me to go and, if you said to me for an experiment, don't bless it, don't do anything, leave the glass on the board, I could do it. I could do it because I don't feel it would do any harm to it.
Right.
I don't. I just think it would be I would just think it would be spirit trying to get through. I don't think it is me. I don't think the spirit board is the doorway to hell.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But I think it can cause some sort of problems.
But I think anything can.
Yeah. And yes,
I think your spirit box. I think your K2 meter.
Yeah,
I think your dashing rods. I think your pendulum. I think anything that you use in the paranormal field has the ability in the same way as what that spirit board does.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. I stand here now and be totally honest with you. I put a K2 in my hand. Not once have I gone, I bless this K2 with this, that, and the other, and this.
Yeah,
that,
but
and
you're probably protected before you work. So
yeah,
I protect in the morning. So if I'm going to work, I know I'm protected.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen with me because I'm too bleary-eyed and bushy-tailed at that time in the morning. but I still, when I use my cards, that is probably the only time that my mind is programmed for 100% protection, because of the only reason I do that. It's not much to do with the fact of I think something bad is coming forward. I don't want to take that person's energy away.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm protecting us as a recipient and a reader of that.
No, I get that. I do get that.
But am I protecting myself against nastiness? No, because I don't think it would ever. I don't think it would ever come to that situation unless person I'm reading for has been dabbling in devil worship or witchcraft. And that's how I don't. I think you can do as much damage with your K2 in your hand than you can the spirit board.
Yeah.
I don't see any difference. And and how many people, and this is how I put it into it, how many people within the paranormal field would have picked up their K2 meter, pendulum, dowsing rods, spirit box after a drink and not thought about it?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
I think quite a few people. Not to say they would have done it on purpose, because
no.
My issue is when drink and drugs are involved, you become a little bit immortal. You become a little bit big, Bertie Big Bollocks. When you've had a bit of a drink and a bit, everything becomes a little bit...
Probably, you do, yes.
So that is where my mind goes to. If you'd had a drink and then you've got your... let's go away from spirit world. You've got your dashing rods in your hand, and so someone goes, "Go on then, ask for the devil to come forward." All right then, come on then, Mr. Devil, come forward. Wallop. Do you know what I mean? Cross. Ooh! Could be someone having a, that could happen on the board as well. So that's where my head goes with the problem that I have with and why I don't recommend doing it under drinks or any hallucinogenics or anything like that, is because of you grow a pair of balls. And I think that is where my worry would go, because the start, becoming immortal, tempting fate, tempting the big boys forward. Not to say they're going to jump through and go, "I'm going to have you," and that's it. But say if you are the devil and you have these idiots sitting there every day going, "Oh, here comes another one, drunk, using his dowsing rods." It only takes that little one incident to go, "Right, I'm going to shut this person up. This is done." Wallop. Do you know what I mean? Something happens. Just to prove a point.
Yeah.
Not to say they're attaching, but just to prove a point.
Yeah.
I just think, I do feel that Hollywood has wiped the floor.
Yeah, but Hollywood has done it so much, hasn't it? To be honest, that's not the only thing.
Perhaps we should speak to Steven Spielberg and say, "Could you do a film on the K2 meter? The haunted K2 meter. Boom, boom, boom."
Well, he's done it. He's done it in many ways with a double, hasn't he? It's not
exactly.
him.
Exactly. I do. We're only using the tools of dowsing rods, pendulums, K2s, spirit boxes, REM pods, and everything like that, because they haven't been used to cause evil to come forward yet in a film or anything like that.
Yeah.
As soon as it happens, you watch people won't use them, because it's no different. But you are right. You are right. Over the course of a weekend, when you're you're sitting in that shop and people go, "Oh, there's a spirit board down there. It's one of them Ouija boards. Do you use it?" "Oh, I couldn't use that."
Yeah, exactly.
And it does become a bit of a, it's one of them questions. I just use it all the time, because it's now got to the point of it's a repetition question.
Yeah, it's.
Um,
But I do think it gets bad press, but I think it's a good tool. So,
oh,
and if
I
you
think-
come, if people come our events, I see it used in a controlled environment, you will see good results. That's it.
don't be frightened of it.
No.
Don't be frightened of it, because your fear of it is also an intention to it.
Yeah.
And that will show fear. Show fear is a weakness. Fear is a weakness to them.
Yeah. Of course it is.
You know, you've probably got more chance of picking up something by saying, "Oh, I'm scared," than you have probably with using it. So, have you got a memory then? We're on spirit boards, and we've probably got about 10 minutes to the top of the hour. So we might as well finish off towards 10 o'clock before we move on to a second subject of a memory that sticks in your head of a spirit board.
Yeah.
Something that you'd never ever
The
forget.
Harwich Fort spirit board.
As
The
in
Harwich Fort. The spirit board.
the one that we can't mention names
Yeah,
of spirit board, but we can mention the story.
Yeah.
So I'll mention the story. I'm not going to mention no names, okay? Because it will make all sense all to you at the end, okay? So if you've ever been to Harwich Fort, the rooms are not very big, okay? It's a maximum of push 8 people in most rooms, and some of them you'll fit a 10 in some of them.
Yeah.
So I'm in my
Maybe
little
it's
group.
maybe a 12 in some of them. So
It's tight. They're little.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there doing my spirit board, and it's all it says. What's the time? I don't want to say it, but it just said
you can't
F
do it
off
yet.
Russ. F off Russ. F off Russ. That's all it kept saying on the board. F off Russ. I said, fine. I'm not going anywhere. Do you want me to leave? Yes. I'm not going anywhere. Leave. F off Russ. Who do you want? Simon. That's it. Simon. So I radio through to Simon and said, Simon, can you bring your group over to this? The board wants you. So bearing in mind, we're in probably the smallest room in Harwich, and we've now got to get 20 people in this little room. Yeah. So I don't touch the board at this point. I just stand near the board. Simon comes in, and it just says F off Russ. F off Russ. Now, I go, do you want me to leave the room? Yes. So I leave the room. F off Russ. F off Russ. Do you want me to go out and back to the tea room? Yes. So I thought, at this point, Simon's got to look after 20 people. I've got to now have a cup of coffee. So I did. I absolutely did. And 20 minutes later, I get a message from Simon on the radio. We've got a not very well guest. He wants to leave. So I said, fine, I'll come over and get him. So I'm sitting
He wasn't even... Just go back on that. He wasn't even on the board.
No, he was sitting at the back. He was only there for his wife. He was only there for his wife. And he just said, he walked out, and we walked back to the tea room. He was going, it said my name. It said my name. I said, okay, that's fine. There's nothing to worry about. No, it said my name. It said my name. I said, mate, it said your name. And it went on for about 5 minutes of him just repeating himself. It said my name. It said my name. And I think I might have lost Simon. Are you there, Mr. Cardy? I think I've lost Simon, but never mind. I'll carry on the story for everybody. And he sat down in the tea room, and I said, stop panicking. Stop panicking. And it wasn't a worry. And he said, it said my name. It said my name. And I said to his partner, his wife, I said, but you saw it said what I said. It said it was swearing at me. I'm not this worried about it. It said your name. So he calmed down, and after about 20 minutes, he sort of started to open up, and this message on the board was he give a certain number which was related to his prison number, his prison cell. He murdered someone, he cut their hand off, he
Yeah.
moved their hand and everything like that. And
And I will say there that anybody on that actual board that night, the hand that wasn't on the glass, we could not feel. So my left hand, I couldn't feel. And without saying anything to anybody, somebody just all of a sudden went, I can't feel my hand. So, and that then went all around the board. You literally, you couldn't, I couldn't feel my left hand. My right hand I could, but obviously there were some people that might have been left-handed with the right hand, not on the board, but
yeah. And when he started to sort of let that all come to, it was his granddad. It's his granddad who got put in prison, and he did bad crimes. He cut people's hands off, and it was predominantly
murdered people. He did murder people.
yeah. And when it actually come down to it, bear in mind this gentleman never touched the board, never put his hand on his board, and he said it said his name, and he let me know that he got put into witness protection at the age of 4 years of age, and that was his name, his actual birth name that was coming through on the board. I won't say it because there's no need to say it, but that was what was coming through on the board. And now for all the cynics out there would have quite easily said, well, his wife could have known. His wife didn't know because I do believe they left in separate cars after that night.
Yeah, but she wasn't on the board though. She wasn't on the board either.
Well, she didn't know. She did not know about his witness protection.
And she wasn't on the board, mate. She was just watching.
I was the only one with these two in the canteen at that time, and I can guarantee you that she was like, what the beep? There was going to be one. I wouldn't have liked to have been in that car journey on the way home. You know, there's a good chance he was kicked out of that car journey on the way home, and he stayed in a Harwich local travel lodge at some point. And that is probably the most, fascinating for me.
I also remember one, I think very much back in our early days, in Tonbridge Castle. I think Kim and Mark were doing the board then. And again, I'm not going to mention names or anything like that, but the two officers that were on that board and got, they weren't on the board, but they got certain things come through where the young couple had died in a motorcycle accident. So, again, this was things that people couldn't have known around that board, but they'd never met. We'd never met them people that come to Harwich.
No. Exactly.
So
exactly.
That's how a good spirit ball can work.
It works.
Yeah, and it will not. It won't hold back either. If it's got a message to get, no matter what that message is, it's going to get it through.
And for all intents and purposes because that's my memory of that as well. Have you ever an evil one that you feel that you feared? Can you remember it?
I've never feared one on a board. I
think to me that answers not my point, but my own question in my head. That we're coming up to 23 years in the field, and we've never had anything that really. I've only really done it for the practicality of the safety of things. I don't know why I'm hiding it. I'm hiding behind, if that makes sense. And
I've had annoying ones on there.
But what isn't?
Yeah.
It's just it could be a dyslexic ghost. I don't know if they exist or not.
I've seen boards. I've seen glasses move on their own. I've seen boards moving on their own.
But does that frighten you? No, it doesn't frighten me because
that's what we're asking for, isn't it? Most of the time, we're asking for evidence, and that's what annoys me. And I do it. Don't get me wrong, I do it. I'll ask for evidence, and it scare the jeebus out of me. But why? Because I'm asking the spirit to do that, and yet I'll jump. Why? I've asked for it.
yeah, but it's still we've asked for it, but it always takes about 10 minutes when you've asked is settled down just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Phone's going off at Kelvin, and you're praying your phone. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I've only just got rid of that one. Right, let's just go back to some of the questions. This is Julie Ray. You're right about the Hollywood effect, as I wouldn't use a board at home, but would use it anywhere else. But I use a K2 and a pendulum, etc. Never even considered these could let anything in. And that's why the Hollywood effect is probably the most common thing. You know, if someone makes a film that the K2 and the pendulums are the most, you know, it's like the Antichrist in there, then no one would use K2s or pendulums in their house. It's a Hollywood effect.
True.
It's a Hollywood effect. Jacqueline has put, when I use my pendulum in my home, apart from protection, I regularly ask my spirit guides to close all vortexes down and just leave one open with my gatekeepers and replace them when they are tired. That's quite a lovely way of putting it.
It's a good way of being. Yeah, that's perfect.
Heidi's joined us. I know Heidi is having a little bit of trouble over in Denmark at the moment. So from everybody here at EGH, hope everything gets better soon for you, Heidi. And we will chat soon when you're up and running again. So take care, Heidi.
Blessings, Heidi.
So yeah, just be aware of it all. Just be aware of it all. You know, it doesn't matter what you use to connect to spirit. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing. It really is. So you sort of, you just have to, you know, I think you could even say, you know, when people do their meditation with open eyes meditation and they use a candle, that could potentially be a line in to it as well.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Well, whenever you meditate, really, as well, isn't it? Because half the time I'm going off to meet my guides, so what am I doing? I'm talking to spirit.
And for all intents and purposes, now talking about it is a line in. It's a line of communication in.
Yeah.
Not to say anything would happen, but it is.
It just kicked me off the system, didn't it?
Well, exactly. Yeah. To be fair, you just froze. And I thought, I don't know if he's staring at the screen or not. I'm thinking, you know.
No, it just kicked me right out. It just kicked me straight off.
Say there is some gremlins in the machine. Mercury retrograde is in place. So just, you know, obviously with Mercury retrograde, it doesn't just affect technology and things like that. It affects emotion. It is a big player on depression, stress, anxiety. When Mercury is in play into our atmosphere, it causes a lot of wobbles, not just within the electronic world, but it does mentally affect people as well. I think they tell you not to buy a house in Mercury retrograde, which if you live in the UK, at the moment, I don't think you've got any hope in hell. It does you a massive favour. If it ain't the bank managers telling you that you're screwed, it's Mercury retrograde that has probably helped you out just a tiny bit today, just a tiny bit. But no, that what's just gone on there? Something's just gone on. Everything's going. Mine's going a bit funny now. Thank you, Mercury retrograde. But no, that is my take on the spirit board. Really.
Yeah. See, I think that took us an hour.
Yeah, I do think it is. I probably overcompensate but obviously for me and us as an events company, for when it comes to that. My priority is the protection and the welfare, the well-being of the guests. It's different if I
Yes.
get an attachment and bring it home, so be it. But
I think we all,
some of my
you
yeah
think it's part and parcel of being an investigator. I think you're going to get it.
Yeah.
You're going to get it.
yeah
At some point, you can't miss it.
no we all know when an attachment's about. If you've lost one of the most signs is miscommunication with spirit, and things like that. So that would be that side of things to me. We've all dealt with them. We've all got rid of them. I'd say more, to be fair, majority of the time, I would say it's just out investigating that I've had an attachment rather than going on a spirit board.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, is there anybody in the chat that wants to ask a question? Have we got any other questions that we can change topic if you want? We can go down the lines of anything else that you want. Simon said he had a couple of topics to talk about.
I've got another topic, yeah.
Oh, we've got another topic.
Yeah, I've got another topic. I have got another topic. But
well,
no, let's
geez,
see if we get any questions on this first. Let's see. Let's give it a couple of minutes for the listeners to fire a question if they want one.
Well, can you just freestyle for a minute then?
Yeah.
Because I can't help it. I'm absolutely breaking my neck for a pee. So I'm just going to go for a pee while you can just keep them talking for a minute. All right.
Exactly. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So when you next come into the shop and you say to me about spirit board, you'll now know it's not a bad thing to do. I would still do it controlled for anybody that's going to do it first time off. I know Barry, who's listening, you've used them quite a lot and you're getting great success out of them, which is really good. I think it's fantastic. So you can use them, but just be a little bit careful. That's my advice. As I say, yeah, we have used them, and my first experience wasn't a spirit board, but it was calling spirits on a book with a metal rod with my friend. Well, my friend was doing it actually. So I wasn't actually doing the calling, but he was calling. So, and the room just went mad, potty. And I was only 16, so it's getting back quite a long way. So, we have got a question in. And we've got a question in.
I think that's the quickest wee I've ever had.
It was quick.
It was quick, but it was. I didn't have much choice, to be fair. It was either that or sit in a puddle of my own wee. What is your take on recurring dreams? Go on then, Si.
I think if I get a recurring dream, it is spirit trying to get a message to me that I'm not listening to. That is one, I would say. And I don't often get recurring dreams because I do speak to spirit a lot and meditate a lot. And I think that takes a lot of recurring dreams away. But I have had a couple, and it's where I haven't listened to spirit. In fact, Russ pointed one out the other day where I hadn't listened to spirit. I think you'll agree. And that's, I think that's my take on recurring dreams, that there's a message there. And my advice to you, Deborah, is to write them down, to keep a journal. And they will, sometimes they do make sense. In fact, I had a couple, had Melissa in the shop today asking about dreams and journals. And I think it's great to have a journal for your dreams.
Always write your dreams down.
Yeah.
Always keep a pen and pad by your bed.
And do it in the morning because you will forget it during the day.
And if it's a good dream, always tell someone by 12 o'clock because it could come true.
Wow. Didn't know that one.
Yeah. Good dream, always tell someone by 12 o'clock it could come true.
Is that your theory, Russ, or did you have a different
pretty much. No. It's a recurring dream. I wouldn't necessarily just take the spiritual meaning of that, where your guides. I would take that as a generalization. A reoccurring dream is that you need to address something spiritually, non-spiritually, earth planable, an incident, something that you have to you have to pay attention to. It is something that is obviously in your mind, and to you rectify that, it's not going to settle down. That would be my take on a recurring dream.
Yeah, agree.
I had
don't know if
one.
that helps, Deborah.
I've had a recurring dream for the last probably 18 to 2 years. Still can't get to the bottom of it. It's not as recurring now as it used to be, but it's still there. It still happens about 5 or 6 times every 3 weeks. So, you know, I still haven't worked it out. My one is I'm at Beely Locks and my 2 children have fallen in, and I have until the lock empties to decide which one survives, or they both die.
Well, we do quite a bit at Beely Lock, Deborah, and there was a child that drowned there, so I just wonder if it's got any association with that. But it was a little boy called Peter, I believe, if my memory serves me right. Long time since I've been there. So if it's one of the places you visit, that might have something to do with it.
My dream has been going on for 40 years.
Wow.
So let's have a look. Let's just have a look at some. I haven't got my book. I don't think I've got my book, have I? Don't know where my dream. Just take the thing for a minute, Simon. I'll go and get my dream book. Just
Okay.
just for a minute, and I'll go and get it. Hold on.
No problems. So, I take it. Do you visit Beely Lock, Deborah? At all? Yes. It's a long time for a dream to be going on. And do you get that? How often do you get that dream, Deborah? Is it?
Oh, right. I'm back. I'm right. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm in, mate.
Right. Let's just have a quick look to see what the dream of drowning
Children dream.
could mean. Let's do a generalisation of drowning, because it could just mean, sometimes we look too deep at the meanings. It's just the obvious that we need to look at.
So you were there when you was a teen, and you get the dream about 2 or 3 times a month. Okay.
Water. It's going to take me around the houses, this book. It never just takes me to where that I want to be. It always takes you. Go to water to look at that, to look at this. Let's have a look.
And in your dream, how old are your children, Deborah?
What's that? Sorry, Simon?
Well, Deborah's put that I asked if she still goes to Beely. She went there when she was a teenager. She gets a dream 4 and 5. Okay. She gets a dream 2 or 3 times a month. And the children that she's seeing is 4 and 5. Okay.
So the drowning highlights our ability to push things into the unconsciousness, only to have them emerged as a force which can overcome us. Very brief there.
It's very brief.
Yeah.
But that's been going on for 40 years, that dream.
Water is usually taken into dreams to symbolise all that our emotions and femininity. The mysterious substance gives us the ability to flow through. Over and around objects, it has the quality of being able to wear away, which gets in the way. Water can also stand for dreamers. Potential has ability to create new life in response to their own inner urges. So
Okay.
the thing with dream analysis, guys, is you have to sort of pick out what is the main fundamentals. Okay, we all have dreams that are reoccurring, but there's only probably about 2 or 3 things that you would need to look at within your dreams. If we try to fit everything in, it doesn't necessarily fit. If you, for example, if you'd have a car crash within your dream, but is all you're seeing is, I was in a red car. Now the color red would be more beneficial to actually the car crash itself. You know, so with the dreams, not everything within the dream has a meaning. It's about 1 or 2 things that sticks out within the dream that is the importance when you do dream analysis. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Did something major happen in your life when you started having those dreams, Deborah? That's what I need to know. So it's spirit there.
That's all right. So I'm just trying to catch. We'll come back to yours in a minute, Samantha. Okay. We'll just finish off with Deborah.
Was
two
there a
or
mate?
three, 2 or 3 times a month. What was the 3 and 4? Sorry.
The children were 4 and 5 that she's seeing drowning.
Right. Okay. Okay. Are they? Well, say you've had it for 40. You said a boy died there, and it's my son's. It's my
Yeah.
son who dies.
Right, okay.
I think we've just got. I think you've just got a link for me
Yeah.
to Beely Lock.
I think so. Because I can't remember the story, but I believe it was the 60s. It was either the 60s or 70s. So, well, I can't remember. Okay. Perhaps you should go back to Beely Lock if you can, Deborah. Just walk it, and I think you may get your answers.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I think so as well. I agree with what Simon is saying there. Even though it's a recurring dream about, obviously, it's not a nice dream to be dreaming about your loved ones that are dying, and you've got to save one or t'other. That's not a nice dream. But with a story of a boy, there's probably something that you may have picked up on when you was there. And then
if you went there as a teen, things do. My spiritual connection started when I was a teen, so that's that's why I think you should just go back and just walk it and just ask a question, even if you're not spiritual. Just ask a question in your head to what it's about, and let us know. Please let us know. That'd be really good to know, actually.
Okay, I'm sorry, I've just got some questions coming in through a mobile as well, so just bear with me. We've got a question there from Samantha. What are your take on dream catchers? I actually believe in dream catchers, Samantha. I've actually got one that is by my bed. We have had a couple of people to buy dream catchers for especially young people, who do suffer from nightmares, night terrors. Always put it at the head end of the bed. It doesn't have to swing. It just has to be at the head end. It can go underneath the floor. If it's in a room underneath, it still works the same principle. Just have it at the head end. Doesn't matter on colour, whatever it is to catch a dream. Not bad. It's to catch bad dreams, I should say, not good dreams. It's no different to what I would call a smudge stick for clearing your house. It's just a nice way of just keeping energy nice and clear. Simon bought me a dream catcher years ago.
Do you remember that? Yeah.
And it did really ramp up activity within my house. and we had to sort of get rid of it. It was the thing is, it was a beautiful dream catcher.
I think I've still got it, so I took it back. Do you know? I think I've still got that somewhere.
I think I would like. I think I'd be all right with it now. It was just weird, wasn't it? It's just weird.
I don't know if to go and find it. Bloody hell!
I know Jay. I don't know if I don't know if Jay and Maz are still listening. He has a real. I don't know if it's a phobia against dream catchers, but he doesn't like dream catchers. But I have one literally by my bed, at the head end. Just to calm down, the energies that could come through in my dreams. Once again, it goes back to that sort of talk about all the spirit board stuff. It's still an open door in your dreams. You're still going into sort of a state of communication because it's easier for them. So, that's just my little bit of what I like to call protection when I sleep. I just want to touch on something really quickly. We have had a question come in from my lovely mummy dearest to say, what is Mercury retrograde? Quite simply, Mercury moves into our atmosphere. Okay, Mercury comes close to Earth and it comes into, it's called retrograde. It's where we turn, and obviously we don't move. People just think we just turn on our axis. We don't. We go in and out and around and about. It just means Mercury is very close to Earth, closer than it becomes, and is what it does. It suppresses the atmosphere. Just so you know, like when you say, when a lot of people say they know when a storm's coming because the atmosphere, they get a bad head. Yeah. Now that's the suppression of the atmosphere has changed, and that's what Mercury retrograde does. It suppresses the atmosphere in a different mentality. All right, so that's why it affects people differently. It affects sort of. It really, it does like to piss ball about with technology and things like that, but it does really play havoc with people's emotions, people's feelings, people's anxieties, depressions, stresses, strains. If it's going to be, it's going to be heightened. I can guarantee you, it will be heightened around Mercury retrograde at that sort of time, because it is. I'll give you the proper meaning. Let's have a look. How does Mercury retrograde? Let's have a look. How does Mercury retrograde? What's that saying then? It's quite interesting. What happens when Mercury is in retrograde? How does it affect us? Many astrologers discovers that believe retrograde motion triggers a cycle of misfortune. It is an optical illusion, which means it looks as if the planet is moving backwards from our view here on Earth. Astrologers believe that during the backwards motion, technology and communications gets disrupted, putting dampeners on everyone's mood. Take a look at everything that you need to know about Mercury retrograde. Astrologers believe it leads to falling out with friends, experiencing misunderstandings, travel, logic and communications, emails getting lost. Now that's funny. Email getting lost today. Brain fog, anxiety, confusion around work, headaches, depression, and miscommunication.
I've got losing keys, missing appointments, discovering your computer is randomly broken down. Well, all of them three things, apart from losing my keys, two things have happened today.
So, are you looking to make the most of Mercury retrograde? No, I am not. Thank you. I've got Yeah, so just be aware that Mercury is, well, it's coming out of retrograde. It's got another couple of days, and then we all should be out of the other side. Mercury's a planet closest to the Sun and only slightly larger than Earth's and the Earth's moon. It is also the fastest planet in the solar system, which means it enters retrograde around 3 or 4 times a year for a 3-week period. Well,
Yeah, and surviving Mercury retrograde is all about focusing and not letting negative thoughts and provocations take over. Instead of going with the flow and hanging out with people you know are not right, it's better to focus on how to create something more productive. There you
there
go.
you go. To be fair, it's only been in 3 times this year. 14th to the 3rd of February, 10th of May to the 2nd of June, the 9th of September to the 2nd of October.
Is that it for the year?
Yes. We're free of retrograde. But you know, I think you can actually put a lot of things, if you look back over your couple of weeks, it can sort of freak you out just a little bit. So just
Look at the government.
exactly. You know, we look at things back. You know, for all intents and purposes, retrograde might not mean anything. It may not do anything. But I think it does. I do think it does.
Yeah.
So we just
I hope that's
you
on-
just have to ride it.
I hope that's answered Mother Dearest's question.
I hope it does answer Mummy Dearest's question. She said you are buffering, whatever that means. Listen, are we back? Are we? So that is Mercury retrograde, and obviously the buffering is part of Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
have we got? Truss will be pleased that then it's going.
Well, up until today, we hadn't seen her though.
Oh well, she's probably had to come back from the planet Zog somewhere. She's a weird one and all, but that's for another. That's for Thursday night.
That's for your Thursday show. You keep that for your Thursday show.
Simon, I'm just going to need you to hold the reins for a second, okay? Because
Okay,
I've
mate.
just got to go and sort something out. So just bear with me a minute and I'll be back. All right?
Right, mate. So, is there any more questions out there? Because a couple of good ones there. And I'd be interested to see when Deborah's been back to be like, I think she'll get a lot of answers there. Be good, I think. So, any more questions, peeps? We'll try our best to answer them. You know, we might not be experts, and it's our opinions, but I'm sure 20 years in the business, well, probably a lot more for me, but it does give us some sort of a right to have an opinion. It's really funny about that boy at Peter. Then my computer's freezing up. I hope you can still hear me. Can you just let me know if you can still hear me?
I'm back.
No.
Hello, everybody. Sorry about this.
Can you still see me and hear me?
Yes. I think it's.
Because I just froze.
Yes, I think there's. Let's just say retrograde is definitely playing some form of silly buggers tonight with a lot of things. I think it's having its final little song and dance for the year. All right. So let's try and get off of Mercury retrograde. The more we talk about it, the more it wants to play with us.
Yeah, the more it does something, yeah.
So what was your second point then, Simon?
Well, that's going to be really, I think that's going to take a pretty long time. But I'll go for it. It's about what we saw in the shot the other day. The photos that we saw.
Okay.
You know, I want to try and replicate that little experiment. But part of it took me down a bigger rabbit hole.
Right.
Because that guy's name is William Hope, by the way. He's the man that's produced these photos
Yep.
back in the 1920s. But until I started to read, I haven't done a massive amount of research, but I have read up. And it brings me back to he crossed swords with Harry Price. And it all leads me back to Harry Price yet again. I seem to always get back to Harry Price in some form or shape.
So
All-
just for
all-
right. So just for everybody, all the viewers and the listeners, what we're talking about, because they won't have a clue what we're going on about.
Okay.
So
Harry
in,
Price,
no.
number one.
well,
Yeah.
no, the pictures. Talk about the pictures
Okay.
because
William
read about
Hope.
people.
Yeah.
Go.
William Hope he attended the Arthur Findlay College, which I've got a great admiration for. But he produced pictures back in the early 20s. He would hold a seance, call lots of people to his seance. They'd ask spirit to come forward. Don't know how he did it on the camera, but then he'd take pictures, asking spirit to appear in these pictures. Now, at first,
What was his name? Sorry.
William Hope. In fact, he's quite famous. You'll find him on there. So, some of these photos, a woman brought these pictures into the shop and she's got the originals. And I've seen all the photos that she actually brought into the shop, Russ, on the internet, copies of. And, we said about a few, we tried. You sort of said it could be this and that. I'm a great believer in orbs, ectoplasm on photos. Now, not all of them, but certainly on a percentage of those, I looked and thought, well, how the hell did he do it? Now that's what I want to put into practice. But then reading up, I got that Harry Price became involved to try and debunk him. Now, Harry Price, for anybody that doesn't know it, is a very, very good paranormal investigator of his day, I would say. I hold him in very high esteem. But then he's trying to debunk all this. What's happening there? But he couldn't. So we've seen the screenshots that you're putting up there now, Russ, is what that woman brought into the shop. She's got the original photos. So probably
Right, so for everybody who's watching on, I know this is obviously this is Pulse Talk Radio, but we've got a bit of thing now. For everybody who is watching over on Facebook or YouTube, now the pictures that you are seeing are you can see the potential of is what he's calling a ghost, a spirit that is coming forward. So you can there is some pictures there that you would say that you can't tell the difference between what is sitting and what is the ghost, and I get that. I don't know if I can't scroll down and show you more. I don't think.
Yeah, you can. You are.
Yeah. So, there's one there. I just find it a little bit too real. Now, that's not to say it's wrong. It's not. No. That's not what I'm saying.
And that is exactly what Harry Price said. Yeah? Until he looked into it. Harry Price looked into it. Then what was happening was people were sitting in circle, right? Now these people in circle not necessarily there with the pictures identified. The people that were identified as the ectoplasm and the faces in those photos were not to do with the people in the circle. People came forward and identified those people from outside this group. So
it's what you're saying is so some of these pictures of these people are not their relatives.
No, they're other people's relatives who have come forward since.
Right. So that has even convinced me even more that there would be easier to fraud than the other way around.
Why though?
Because you could take a picture of that, you could have an exposure already of anybody before you overlay that exposure of the people in
But
that
he'd
circle.
have to be a genius of those people coming forward from all over the country.
Yeah, but he's only got to put them in the paper.
How would he get their photos?
No, but you could take
How would he get their photos to expose? No.
But you could have just taken. You could have just.
I live in Rayleigh. Yeah, you're going back in the time where he couldn't just take a photo with somebody in Scotland. He'd have to go to Scotland, so he'd be noted to go to Scotland.
Yeah, but he could have. There's nothing to say he couldn't.
Yeah, but
I'm just going to stop the screen share, by the way, guys, so we can come back onto the. See, I think it would be more easier to.
No,
because you could just take a photo of. You could walk through. It doesn't mean he has to travel to Scotland. He could just walk through London and say, "Could I borrow you for an hour to take your photo? Could I borrow you for an hour to take your photo?" Take their photo, and he could do that for 10 weeks, and he could have a backlog.
He could do, but you're
and then he
talking
just puts it in the paper.
Yeah, but you're talking of people that are in a controlled experiment. They're in a controlled experiment under. It's like me saying we're going to Kelvedon. We work in a group, and then you're saying all that we found is fake. You can't say that.
No.
You can't say that. And in the end, even Harry Price had to admit that there's photos there that he could not debunk.
If you ask any photographer,
I'm not talking about photography.
No.
I'm talking about what he's found.
Yeah,
what he's done in a controlled experiment.
Right. So, but it just takes. That doesn't take a lot to do. That really doesn't. If you ask any photographer, that is what he has done there. Them photos are the easiest thing to do.
Right,
you just overlay a photo over a photo. That's all you do, and then put it onto your bit of paper.
In a controlled experiment where he's being.
But then you don't. Is
Looked
what I'm
at
saying.
With somebody overseeing him.
But then is what you
with
would
somebody
do.
Overseeing him. You're missing the point.
No. But he could have 28 different.
Right.
No. Just listen. Wait, look. Let's just listen. Okay. He could have thousands of bits of paper that are blank.
Right.
With thousands of faces on them already.
Right.
But it would be blank. It would be blank until you put that in the camera. Then you get 2 exposures.
Right.
2 exposures.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. He's had people check the cameras before he's taken the photos. He's had people check the photos while he's developing them. He's had people with him all the time. So you're going to call that fake?
No. It's not what I'm saying. Is he could bring... for example, say if I bought a pack of paper in like this with loads of anything. So you could say you could pick any one of these bits of paper, blank, with no photos on them, okay? But they have been printed on, and that's what I'm saying. They've already been printed on, so you could have thousands.
But if somebody's investigating that before it goes ahead,
you wouldn't see it. It'd be a blank bit of paper. Absolutely blank, with nothing on it, just like that. So nothing, but there's a face already in that. There's a face already there. I'm telling you, I've already printed on that bit of paper, but you can't see it because it's not relayed out yet.
But
I
somebody
can put that in
that.
No,
but
only if you was to develop it. Only if you was to develop it. So now what you do?
Develop it with somebody looking at what you're developing.
Yes.
If somebody's looking at everything you're doing.
Right, so you've picked this bit of paper up out of a box of 1,000, yeah? And it's blank. You're saying to me that's blank, yeah?
Yeah.
I put this in the camera.
Yeah.
I take the photo of the person sitting in the front of the room. Yeah?
Yeah.
Then develop. 2 faces will appear.
Right.
Where's it gone? Because you've given me that bit of paper. You've picked the bit of paper out of the packet, not me. You.
Right, so
You've given me this.
But how's it got on there then?
He's already done that. You can develop a picture that hasn't been. That's what I'm saying.
But hold on, you've got to have taken a picture to get it on a blank bit of paper. You can't just get a bit of paper.
No, but that's what I'm
A
saying.
blank bit of paper.
He could have pre-printed. It's not printing. You could have developed that without you seeing it until you put the
another
final.
developer would know that, wouldn't they? Somebody in the same game as him would know that.
Yeah.
Somebody
quite
as
easily.
clever as him would know that.
And but this is what I've got pictures somewhere in my A levels that have done that exact pictures.
Yeah, I'm not saying every one of them wasn't, but
Is what I'm saying is I could put you a box of paper. I could say, look, I've bought 1 million pieces of blank paper along. I've bought.
Yeah.
You could pick any single one that you want.
But if
And
I
there
was
would
in
be-
the same game as you, if I was in the same
But
game
you
as you,
wouldn't.
and on
To
the
be
same
fair,
level as
Simon.
you,
Yeah. The only way you could
I
do
would
that.
know what you're doing.
Yes, but you wouldn't be able to see it. Even Mr. William couldn't tell you on that bit of paper what face was coming out
Right,
because
okay.
you can't see it. You can't see it. It's
So
blank.
you're debunking all those pictures of William Hunt.
No, not debunking. There is a couple. The ones with pure faces on, the ones with pure faces on that look like they've got a jacket over their head, I'm throwing out. There's one photo.
Because I don't. Yeah.
There's one photo that is absolutely. I just couldn't.
I'm going to research into it a bit more because this guy, we're sort of saying this William Hope is a fraud, which I'm not. I'm definitely not.
I'm not saying he's a fraud,
And
but I'm saying that's not
he
hard
went
to
to a
do.
very prestigious college, and he went to our Finley College. I think we know a lot of that. And perhaps I don't know, but if Harry Price has tried to debunk him and can't debunk him, then I would say some of them photos are pretty damn real.
I'm sorry. I'm just reading an article now, and the article is saying Bob's Holt pictures were, of course, a complete fabrication. He would produce an existing photograph of the deceased and expose the apparition onto a photographic plate prior to sitting with his clients. By using this measure and create a double or triple exposure of the imaging and be able to translucently affect consistent with expectations of how spirit might manifest. That's how I'm trying to explain it.
Right,
I can see as someone that's obviously just a quick. I haven't read the whole article, by the way. I don't.
Right, okay.
I can't tell you what the whole article says. But
Okay.
that's how exactly.
No,
how
if you think that,
person-
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's again, it's opinions, isn't it? It's opinions.
They're just too clear. This would still
Yeah, but
be
we could
going.
say the same. Hold on, we rant and rave about a picture we've got at Northwood Station.
Yeah.
We could be totally debunking that there.
No, because it's
Why?
done because you can't double expose on a digital camera.
Okay, all right. So
You can't because you got a digital camera is a. And
I'll
memory
research
card.
more into it. I'll research more into it.
You're talking about old 35mm camera. You're talking about you're not talking about a 35mm camera. You're talking about a camera that has to have that exposure to come through onto that paper. You're dealing with no paper with a digital camera. It's a total different process to a digital camera, massively different. Because you're just taking that.
I think we'll have to beg to differ on this one because okay.
I say I do. I'm not saying that every single one of them photos is fake, because there's some there that are definitely. The more I look at the pictures, there is definitely something going on. The ones with clear faces, why is it still not being done today? Why is it? Everyone's got a 35mm.
Because cameras and everything have changed, haven't they?
But this
we do still take pictures now where we get faces in the pictures, don't we?
Yes, but it's what I'm saying is you're not getting as clear photos. When did
Yeah,
the
but
35
you-
millimeter? When did digital cameras come into play?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you still get photos now where you get a clear picture of a child sitting over. So that,
So your first digital camera come into play in 1989.
yeah,
Okay, that was the first digital camera. Okay, so
Yeah.
pre that it was still 35 millimeter, and
Yeah.
still after that, which is the same principle that William Hope would have used.
yeah. Which,
You're
but
putting it
what I'm
onto-
saying is,
So
we're still getting pictures now, aren't we?
when yes, but
We're
you've
still
also,
getting spirit pictures now.
yeah, but we're not getting anything as clear as what he was getting.
Don't
I
know.
couldn't tell. I
I
couldn't
have
tell
seen some
you.
clear ones.
I have, but as clear as what he's showing, I can make out like the one that we've taken at North Weald Station. I couldn't tell you if that was male, female, boy, girl, or anything. We just see
No.
an outline.
But there are some there are some photos taken nowadays that you can see that are pretty clear.
This William Hope's one is it's easy to tell who and she is. Now, if I look within the photos of the photos and taking away the ones that are glaringly obvious, that are a double exposure to me, there is certain photos in there that I would be picking out and saying, well, that's not right, because you can't, there's a face there, but you couldn't tell if it was man, female, boy, or girl. They interest me more. That's what I'm saying.
So if we then did an experiment where we got a circle
I know.
round, which
I know I could get you exact
no, I'm not saying
photo
about
of that.
I'm not saying about faking it, but if we actually did it on a camera of today's quality,
Which I don't think you'd get it on a digital camera, but I reckon.
But if we went round in a circle and did,
yeah.
then what would you feel?
If I saw it with my own eyes, and then it was controlled, 100%.
Then we need to try. Then I need to try that experiment. Then
we can't. My theory is.
But he can't answer it. He can't answer us, can he?
No,
unfortunately,
no, but
he can't.
No, he might be able to if he comes through. There's actual picture that looks like Jay on one of them, and he's still here. But there's some that it's just glaringly obvious. It's a bloke in a coat over his head.
Yeah.
It's glaringly obvious. And that is what turns me a little bit. If it wasn't, it's what I don't get why it's always the same. It's the same motion every time. Not to say that's wrong. I'm not sitting here calling William Hope a fake.
We can't. We can't.
That's not what I'm saying.
Well,
but the is what I'm saying. It's debate. I would say some of his photos are debatable.
Yeah,
Polaroid would be best. Absolutely. I would say that is an absolute. But I don't think, Julie, is what you've got to try and do. We're trying to replicate an experiment from back when he did it. So you're talking about long exposure times. With a Polaroid, it's going to be instantaneous. So it's going to be click, click, right? That never happened back then. It was a long exposure time.
But if that did happen to a Polaroid, and you got the same thing.
Yeah. I would say, my head would say, if I got you 1,000, and I'm not talking about orbs, they're out of the question. No, that has got to be a clear face, as clear as William Hope has put in his photos.
Yeah.
And I could tell you it was Doris Day of 1948, and that's how you would tell it. Then I would believe you. But I reckon we could take 40,000 pictures and not get anything as clear as what he's got. That would be my prediction.
But we don't know how many he took. In all honesty,
No, you don't. You don't. You honestly don't.
we don't know if he took 500 or
Yeah.
5,000.
You'd be talking about a long. You'd be saying you would see being, you know, you could definitely see the ones that are in the dark, the ones that are not in the dark. From his photos, you've got to try several different experiments. I think we could try one with a Polaroid. As I say, I'm winning the bid for the 35mm camera on eBay at the moment. So
See, I think we've got to try it. I'm not being funny. I think we've got to try it with one of these Polaroid and that. And if we sat in a circle or sat in our spirit to do this, and they did it, then hats off to him.
Yeah, definitely. But I is what I will do if I could find. But I'd also prove to everybody that a good photographer could easily make them pictures quite easily, and it's very, very simple. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's a double exposure. That's all it is. And I say, I'm not saying, I have an A level in photography. And fun enough, it is in 35mm. It's not the digital stuff now. I spent a lot of times developing my own photos. I don't know if I've still got it. I probably would have launched it. But double exposures were like the things that you could change the photo. It's very easy to do. You just kept, and it's one of them things. It's one of them things. I'm not sitting here and calling him a fake because I don't know. I generally don't know. No different to Harry Price. You know, people called him out for fakeness. I should think there was a lot of things that he did not to fake it, but made his own experiments up. That's not to say that it was fake. We shall see. Once we've got all the bits in play, once we've got the cameras in play, I think we can still buy a Polaroid camera off the shelf. I don't think I've got to go second hand for a Polaroid camera. It is a Polaroid, isn't it? A Polaroid camera. 35mm are the, and you need one with long exposure time because I do want to try it in the dark or under a red light. I would assume he would have had some form of light. So it's going to be a very interesting, very interesting. And even because, me, I get a bit of a buzz. I get a bit of buzz about it because it's something that I want to do. Do you know what I mean? I've got.
I think it'd be interesting to do. And then at least I just wondered if you would get anything. Who knows?
To be fair, you can go and buy a Polaroid now instant camera for £119. £100.
Right.
So you could go and get one of them straight away. Colour film, that's 60 quid. So they're coming down. You just got to go and find one. But it's a 35mm camera that would be the one that I would be the interested one in. Just because it has that same sort of principle that he used. But by all means, if it happens, well, it's proved everything that he said was right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing, there isn't, you can't. It's just strange. The pictures are strange. Honestly, guys, go and have a look at William Hope photographer. That's what I've googled.
Yeah, and some people think he's fake. Some people think he's true. I don't know. I don't know.
It's weird.
I just want to see. I think spirit. I think if you are spirit to do it, they would do it. Harry Price tried to debunk him, and supposedly did. And then Houdini. Really? Harry Houdini tried to do it, and then controlled experiments. I don't know, but
It'd be interesting. It gets your juices flowing because it is old form of, you know, that sort of thing. You are going back to sort of roots and
yeah. That lady who came into the shop, she's got the original photos. They're probably worth a bob or two.
yeah, you know, it is, and you could see it, and it is. I think I do generally feel that the modern day photos of these are orbs. I just don't see if it was happening then, why is it not happening now?
Yeah.
You know, we talk about seances, stood the test of time. Spirit boards stood the test of time. Communicating with spirit stood the test of time. This method of communicating hasn't stood the test of time, and that is what.
Yes.
Yeah, but it hasn't. It hasn't.
Yeah,
stood,
but
when was
no.
the
But
first-
what
when
I'm
was-
saying is, if we go back and do this experiment and we do it on an old camera, we do it on a Polaroid camera, and we do it on a modern camera, and get the same results, where we do get something, then we're putting it right back out there, aren't we? If you see
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah. I just find I'd just like to know how old, when did he start?
God
When did he
knows.
start? So he was born in. He died 1933, age 70. So you're talking around the sort of the late Victorian era, aren't you?
Yeah, early recording, yeah.
So in February, the paranormal Harry Price, and so we know, you know,
They are saying he was a fraud. They are saying he was a fraud.
but I think it.
That's-
But my point is that he's made it too glaringly obvious. Not to say that's right or wrong, and that it may not be, but it just looks too much in my eyes. Too much. I don't care who anyone shows me an orb or the pictures that we've caught. No one has showed me
That's another
ever
show.
has showed me a clear picture like William Hope does back in the early 1900s. No one has shown me a clearest photo. I've never seen a face like that on any photo I've seen. Even when you zoom into orbs, you don't see a clear face. You see an outline, you see a shape, a silhouette, and things like that. But do we ever see anything like that? I haven't. But some might have. And everything is going a little bit Pete Tong again because all the system is going really slow.
Perhaps that's William Oak, mate.
William Hope. Just as long as it ain't William Tell, I'm all right. Because we'll stick a fork up his bum and he'll run like hell. Good old William Tell. Right, guys, we have come to the end of the show. We have done it. And I think, you know,
quick.
we
Went quite quick, actually.
we are going to be doing this experiment. I know we are.
We're definitely doing it.
I've just had a couple of text messages come through to say they've got 35mm cameras. I just want to know if they have long exposure. It needs to have long exposure. It can't just be a click one because it wouldn't have been that. It would have been a long explosion. It would have been a long exposure. So where you leave the lens open for a period of time where you have to sit still. You can't move. You can't shift. It's hard. You shouldn't even breathe or blink. So it's going to be very hard to control the experiment. But you know, back in them days, they were used to sitting still for so long because they would have had drawings of them and things like that.
Yeah.
With oil paintings, they're used to that sort of. But it's something that we are looking into. I say, I am winning the bid for the camera that we want. So, and that finishes in 22 hours. So, hopefully, this time tomorrow, we will know if we've won the camera or not.
And if we don't win the camera, and anybody's got a 35mm camera with long exposure, then you'd be welcome to come and join us
Yeah,
and take the photos for us when we do it.
exactly. So, thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's been a fantastic chat, very
Yes.
debatable, and as we say on this show, you know, nothing's off anything paranormal we want to talk about. So
Yeah.
just throw it over at any point.
And we are going to differ. We differ on.
But that's
Wouldn't
life,
be right
though,
if
isn't
we-
it?
It wouldn't be right if we didn't, actually.
Would it be a very boring world if we all had the same opinion?
It would. It would.
It definitely would. Right, guys, take care, everybody. Stay safe. We will be back next week with another random topic. I'm just going to end this very quickly over on Pulse Talk Radio. So thank you ever so much for joining us over on Pulse Talk Radio. Obviously, join me again next Thursday on the Journey Through the Unexplained at 8 p.m. over on Pulse Talk Radio and the Facebook page of Journey Through the Unexplained. And me and Simon will be back this time next week over on Pulse Talk Radio, Facebook and YouTube for the EGH Paranormal Talk Show. Take care, stay safe, and we'll be back next week. Thank you, everybody that has joined us over on Facebook tonight. You have been absolutely the best. If we have never read any of your comments out, I do apologise. We just don't see all of the comments. I don't know what goes on tonight, but something's been playing up. But we've got there. We've got through it. As you can tell, Simon's sitting on a different angle because of his computer didn't want to play tonight. And we'll go from there. But take care, everybody, and we'll be back next week.
Have a good week.
Take care, everybody.